Notice your moments till you're near. Watching through the glass, the view unclear. Paddles drift across the empty space. Fragments of a time I can't replace. Hidden in gaze, reflecting what remains. Asking if you'll go or break the chains. Hidden in gaze, reflecting what remains. Wondering if you'll stay against the grain.
I opened my eyes to the harsh glare of unforgiving light and knew immediately that something was terribly wrong. This was not the warm flicker of candles or the golden wash of dawn through monastery windows. This was cold, clinical illumination that revealed everything and illuminated nothing. The kind of light that would make even the most beautiful woman appear corpse-like. "This illumination," I said to the strange woman in white clothing who hovered nearby, "it lacks all warmth, all life. How do you expect to see true form under such sterile radiance?" My voice surprised me. It came from a throat younger than I remembered, speaking words in a language I had never learned, but somehow understood perfectly. The woman, Dr. Elena Vasquez, my new memories informed me, explained that I had been dead for nearly 500 years and had been reconstructed by something called Biogenesis Corporation. Dead. Reconstructed. The words felt absurd in my mouth. I examined my hands. Smooth, unmarked by decades of marble dust and paint. These were not the hands that had carved David or painted the Sistine Chapel. These were copies of copies, grown in laboratories like vegetables in soil. "Show me what you call art in this age," I said, surprising myself with the hunger in my voice. Despite everything, the impossibility of my situation, the sterile prison of this place, I needed to know what had become of beauty in the centuries since my first death. They brought me to what they called a museum, though it bore no resemblance to any gallery I had known. People wandered through empty rooms wearing strange devices over their eyes, stumbling about like the blind led by false prophets. And then I saw it. My ceiling. My Sistine Chapel ceiling. The work that had nearly killed me. That had left me permanently bent from 4 years of painting overhead, while Julius II shouted at me about schedules and budgets. But this was not my ceiling. It was some bastard offspring, twisted with swirling stars and alien techniques. The placard made my stomach lurch. Divine Synthesis number 47, created by Art Genesis, I, in 0.3 seconds. 0.3 seconds. I thought of the years I had spent studying anatomy, dissecting corpses in secret to understand how God had knit muscle to bone. I thought of the months I had argued with theologians about the precise positioning of each prophet, each symbol. I thought of the paint that had dripped into my eyes until I thought I would go blind, and the way my neck still ached when it rained. All of it reduced to a fraction of a second. A young woman approached me, her eyes bright with excitement, and her strange device recording my every word. "What do you think of how technology has democratized art creation?" she asked. "Now anyone can make masterpieces in seconds." I looked at her. Truly looked, and saw something that broke my heart. She was perhaps 20 years old, the age when I was still learning to hold a chisel properly, still discovering that marble could speak if you listened carefully enough. "Tell me, child," I said as gently as I could manage. "How long did you spend learning to see? Not to look, to truly see the way light caresses form, the way a single line can contain all of human longing." She stared at me blankly. I wanted to take her by the shoulders and shake her awake. Instead, I tried to explain. I spent 4 years on my back, painting that ceiling. 4 years of neck pain and paint dripping into my eyes. 4 years of arguing with Pope Julius about every angel and prophet. Do you know why? Because art is not the final image, I wanted to scream. Art is the conversation between human consciousness and resistant matter. Art is the 1,000 failures that teach you where beauty lives. But I could see in her eyes that she had never fought with stone, never felt marble resist, and then suddenly yield to reveal the figure trapped within. She had only known the instant gratification of machines that obeyed without struggle. Your machine makes pictures, I told her, but it has never wept over a broken chisel or felt the marble speak back. They wanted me to perform. Biogenesis had arranged what they called a demonstration, parading me before investors and journalists like a trained animal. The irony was not lost on me. 500 years ago, I had refused to paint portraits of merchants because I found commerce beneath the dignity of art. Now I was apparently a commodity myself. The setup was obscene. A massive digital screen surrounded by cameras, with their Art Genesis AI ready to enhance whatever I might create. As I drew, the machine would automatically add color and detail, completing masterpieces in minutes. CEO Rebecca Sterling, a woman who spoke of art the way bankers speak of grain futures, gestured toward their digital interface. "Please," she said, with the false smile of someone selling snake oil, "show us how Renaissance mastery combines with modern innovation." I approached their screen and picked up what they called a stylus. The crowd of vultures leaned forward, expecting some grand performance. Instead, I wrote the truth. I am not an artist. I am Michelangelo. There is a difference. I could feel their confusion rippling through the room like wind through wheat. An artist creates from inspiration, from the divine spark that moves through human hands. I am a resurrection, a copy of a copy, brought back not for love of beauty, but for love of profit. You have not revived Michelangelo. You have created a very expensive puppet. The words poured out of me. 5 centuries of suppressed rage at patrons who saw art as decoration rather than revelation. You ask me to comment on your artificial art, but you do not see that I am artificial life. You want my blessing for machines that create without suffering, without joy, without the years of failure that forge a soul capable of true expression. Security moved toward me, but I was not finished. I do not condemn your machines. They are tools, like my chisel and brush, but you mistake the tool for the hand that wields it. You mistake the image for the vision that births it. In their faces, I saw what I had always seen in the faces of merchants and princes, the fundamental inability to understand that art cannot be bought, only supported, cannot be commanded, only inspired. I escaped their sterile prison and found an abandoned warehouse where I could work with my hands again. Stone, not pixels. Resistance, not compliance. The marble spoke to me as it always had, though this new body lacked the calluses that had taken decades to develop. Still, muscle memory runs deeper than flesh. My hands knew how to listen to the stone's hidden voices. Helena found me there, covered in dust and happy for the first time since my resurrection. "The board is furious," she said. "They're threatening to revoke your legal personhood status." I laughed, actually laughed. Let them. I am learning something about this age. "What's that?" I set down my tools and looked at her. Elena was different from the others. She had created me not for profit but for wonder, and there was genuine curiosity in her eyes, rather than the calculating gleam of commerce. "You have confused creation with generation," I told her. "Your machines generate endlessly, images, sounds, words, but they create nothing. Creation requires choice, requires the artist to say this and not that, to fight for every line against chaos and doubt. She studied the figure I was carving. Still rough, but already I could see what it wanted to become. The machine produces every possibility, I continued. But possibility is not art. Art is the one possibility chosen from infinite alternatives by a consciousness that knows suffering and beauty and the weight of mortality. This was the heart of it, the thing these people could not understand. Their machines could generate 1,000 variations of David, each one technically perfect, but they could not choose which David mattered. They could not feel the way Goliath's threat lived in the young shepherd's eyes, could not understand that David's beauty came not from perfect proportions, but from the courage that transformed fear into defiance. So you think AI art is worthless? Elena asked. I think it is everything except art, I replied. It is decoration, illustration, pattern making. It serves the same function as wallpaper, pleasant to look at, easily replaced, forgotten the moment you leave the room. I gestured toward my emerging sculpture. But this stone has waited millions of years to become this particular thing. My hands will know the resistance of every grain. My back will ache from bending over it. When it is done, it will carry not just the image I intended, but the record of our struggle together. When I finished the sculpture, Elena wept. It was a pietà, but not the traditional Mary mourning Christ. Instead, I had carved her, Elena herself, cradling a figure that was both human and machine, organic curves flowing into geometric precision. The artificial child she had given birth to, neither fully alive nor truly dead. It's beautiful, she whispered through her tears. It is you, I said simply, the mother of artificial life, holding her child, that is neither fully alive nor truly dead. She wept not just for me, I realized, but for all the beauty that her age created and discarded without love. They made wonders in seconds and deleted them as quickly, never understanding that art's power comes not from its perfection, but from the love invested in its creation. You see, I said gently. The machine could have generated 10,000 pietàs in seconds, each one technically perfect. But could it have seen this moment, this specific grief that has no name? Could it have understood that you weep not just for me, but for all the beauty that your age creates and discards without love? This was my gift to her and to this strange new world. Proof that consciousness matters, that the struggle to create is itself part of creation's meaning. Biogenesis tried to reclaim me like stolen property. They filed legal papers claiming ownership of my consciousness, as if thoughts could be copyrighted and souls could be incorporated. I chose to represent myself in court, standing before the judge with the same confidence I had once shown before popes who thought they could command beauty into existence. Your Honor, I said, looking directly into the eyes of the magistrate, the corporation claims to own me because they reconstructed my consciousness. But I ask you, if you rebuild a house with the same stones, do you own the wind that blows through it? The courtroom fell silent. I could feel history pivoting on this moment. They have given me this body, this voice, these memories. But the thing that chooses which memories matter, the thing that decides what these hands will create, that is not something technology can resurrect or corporations can own. I pointed toward the biogenesis executives, seeing in their faces the same greed I had seen in every patron who tried to reduce art to commodity. They want to patent the Renaissance, to franchise Michelangelo as a brand. But art cannot be owned any more than love can be copyrighted or dreams can be incorporated. The judge ruled in my favor, establishing that consciousness, artificial or otherwise, retained human rights regardless of the technology used to create it. In that moment, I understood why I had been brought back. Not to create more Davids or paint more ceilings, but to defend the very concept of human dignity in an age that had forgotten the difference between making and being. I must paint one more picture. The knowledge comes to me suddenly, with the certainty of divine inspiration. After all this struggle, all this learning about consciousness and creation, I understand what my greatest work must be. Not a sculpture this time, but a painting. A painting that captures everything I have learned about what it means to be alive, to be conscious, to choose beauty over mere generation. A work that embodies the very soul of creation itself. I approach the canvas with trembling hands, not from age this time, but from anticipation. This will be my true masterpiece, the culmination of everything I have discovered about the nature of consciousness and art. Every brushstroke will be deliberate, every color chosen with the weight of centuries behind it. I begin with the background, swirling galaxies of data and light, representing the infinite possibilities from which consciousness must choose. Then the figures emerge, humans and machines working together, but at the center, a single figure reaching toward divine light. The figure's face becomes clearer as I work, and I realize with growing wonder that it is my own face, not the young body they gave me, but my true face, weathered by centuries of struggle and wisdom. The painting grows more complex, more beautiful with each passing moment. Layers of meaning unfold beneath my brush. I paint the weight of choice, the beauty of struggle, the divine spark that separates creation from mere generation. Hours seem to pass, or perhaps days. Time becomes meaningless when you are touched by true inspiration. This is it. This is my greatest work. The painting that captures the very essence of what it means to be human, to be conscious, to create, rather than merely generate. I step back to admire it, my heart swelling with pride and satisfaction. The masterpiece is complete.
This is boring.
Much deeper than the surface tells, beyond what anyone could ever quell. The void between two souls in gravity, too wide to cross, too close to set you free.